Hello, Opening Pathways viewers. This is Tom Lenoble. It's great to be with you again. I'm so excited about my guest today. I've been just waiting for today to be with Amanda Colbert. Amanda is the CEO and founder of Chariot Communications. We're going to learn a lot more about that today. But Amanda, it's so great to have you here on Opening Pathways. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, let's jump in. How about that? So I want to know right from the beginning how your company started and what sparked your idea to do it.
Great question. I consider myself a corporate dropout. I've always wanted to be a consultant and have the flexible schedule and all of the things that my consultants friends bragged about so much. And I ultimately got the nudge to do this from the universe when I was laid off from Oracle in 2022. And the inspiration really came from, of course, needing to make money right away, knowing I had a bit of time to get my feet on the ground underneath me again. And even when I didn't have any clients, I knew that I had an incredibly valuable skill set in being able to position myself and to support my own communications initiatives. From there, I began learning more about the realm of digital PR. I have been working alongside marketing organizations for the past 15 years. I started in traditional public relations, had a brief stint in paid media. It was a lot of fun, and I learned so much throughout the entire process. So I see myself as an incredibly versatile communications professional. And I knew that I would be able to bring this idea to market because I had done it with so many products and organizations in the past. So even when I didn't have any income, I was still sitting at my desk, grinding, learning everything that I could so I could make data-informed strategic decisions to help my business grow the same way that I had with previous
Love this.
organizations and teams.
Love this. You know, I remember when I first was opening my consulting business, and I was like, I thought, I'm going to really miss being on a team and the affiliation and not having that identity of being with a company. And I remember after I started one day, I realized, you know, once my hours are up, they don't want me here anymore. This is like the deal. Every place I ever worked, it was like I was there 10 and 12 hours a day. They don't want you here because they have to pay you if you stay behind. It was like the icing on the cake all of a sudden because I got to go home. Here's what I want to know. At what moment did you say, this is my path?
When all of the doors kept opening for me and finding new clients, especially in a really volatile market, people are hesitant to make that full-time hire. I would apply to a lot of full-time jobs with big salaries. I would have loved to gone back to something similar to Oracle, but those opportunities weren't available. However, one door closes, an entire mall of opportunities open for me.
Always.
Consulting. It was incredible. I'm just going to networking events, putting my name out there for existing clients, existing referrals who turned into clients. There was a lot more tolerance for fractional leadership, for part-time PR. And that's where you can come in and make the most impact. And I agree with you. It's really, really hard to be a solopreneur. It's me and my dog most days. It's me and my dog and a whole bunch of like ceremony music in the background. But when you get to integrate into a team and you start leading the organization and supporting the other teams and mentoring groups and being able to go to networking events and meet some other like-minded folks, that's really when the tables turn and we realize
Yeah.
none of us are in this alone. Everyone can grow and move forward in their careers together, even if we all have separate companies.
How have you, if you look at yourself today, how have you fundamentally changed since you started on this path?
Oh my gosh. I think early in my career, the biggest thing that I had to overcome or the biggest thing I had to unlearn was a crappy attitude. Being able to be in gratitude and even be grateful for the things that I'm complaining about is a huge blessing. So that was a lesson I had learned about 10 years ago. I've been consulting for about 3.5 years now. I think the biggest thing that I had to learn was to be gentle with myself. And it's not okay to lose a deal, lose a client, and then punish yourself by working until 10 o'clock every night. I'm a lot like you. my computer is right next to my bedroom. It's really easy to come into my office and keep grinding, but at a certain point, all the words on the screen start to blend together
Yeah.
and you can't do good work. So I would say the biggest thing that I have learned since starting consulting is to take days to go skiing, to take afternoons to go for a bike ride, because your brain needs that time to decompress, and play is so important to having that really good
Yes.
attitude that I had just talked about moments before.
Yeah, mine is my Pilates practice and going to nature. And I have fortunate in both places I live that I can walk out the door and within a few minutes be in extraordinary settings. And people think I'm crazy. I walk in the park here in this time of the year in the Bay Area. We've had rain, so all the flowers come, and I feel like I'm seeing old friends that I haven't seen for a year. And people see me talking to the flowers, and I'm sure they walk by me and they're like, "What's with this dude?" But I'm having a blast, so it doesn't matter. So here's what I know from this podcast and from myself is that who we are today, there was somebody early in our life that had influence about who we become. Not even the journey, but where we finally get to these points in life where, which not don't stop, by the way, where we realize really more about what we came here to do. Who was that for you in that early years?
I love this question. It is without a doubt my Aunt Cindy. She's my mom's sister, and she was there for every swim meet. She was there for every holiday. She was there every weekend. She celebrated everything with us. And I I find myself in these patterns of this negative self-talk. And she would show up, just unconditional love, and tell us, me and my sisters, that we're amazing. And she was excited when we were excited. And she would teach us about her yoga practice and all these beautiful gifts. She would just show up. She was so giving and just so loving. And it was so beautiful to be seen and held and appreciated by someone like that. And how blessed we are to have someone outside of our parents who can come in and just shower
Yeah.
us in absolute love. And she was amazed with what we were doing. She was so we would talk about outfits, we would talk about hair, and then it started turning into Ayurveda. We found ourselves down very similar paths. I have a lot of her crystals at my desk. She unfortunately passed away in 2020, so I feel that I have a guardian angel and she's with me all of the time. She taught me so many beautiful, beautiful lessons, and I thank her every day. Much like you're talking to the flowers, I'll walk around my kitchen going, "Thank you, Aunt Cindy," knowing that
Yes,
she gave me
yes.
this beautiful gift of just appreciation and awe when I find myself beating myself up so frequently.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Aunt Cindy. These people that are in our lives that are so special that we don't realize really fully until later what an impact they had. So tell me this, what values have guided Amanda from the start, and which one has deepened recently?
My gosh, I would say honesty is the most important thing. And when clients come to me and say, "What do we do about this?" I never want to fake an answer. Specifically in the digital realm, if a client comes to me with a very complex visibility question, I can't say the answer that I shared 5 years ago. I have to go, "That's a great idea. I like the way that you're thinking. Like, validate that this is the direction that we should be going in. I'm not 100% certain. I will get back to you by the end of the day." The platforms are changing all of the time. Google Business Profile just did a huge change in early 2026. So I can't offer that same guidance without having to gut check myself first and let me validate that and bring it back. And I think there's nothing more valuable than being really honest with somebody and earning that level of trust. Because I specifically work with the C suite and founders. You cannot bullshit your way through those
No,
conversations.
can't.
Absolutely not. So when you sit down and say, "Yes, I will look into that for you," and make it a top priority to make sure that you are sharing the latest and greatest information, and also being honest with yourself about, I may not have all of the answers right now, but that doesn't mean that the information isn't out there.
Yeah, now I need to talk to you about my Google business account. So tell me this, Amanda, where has life asked you to slow down recently, and what did you hear?
Oh my gosh. I feel like life is forever encouraging me to slow down. I recently went gluten-free and I had a lot of inflammation, brain fog, and I was not operating at my best and I couldn't figure out why. So I did a food sensitivity test and found out that I couldn't have my favorite thing, which is bagels. I'm so upset by this. I hail from New England, so like there's nothing quite like pizza crust back home. And I had to completely change my diet, got rid of all of the wheat and barley and all of the fun things in my kitchen and starting over. And now I'm on a mission to prove I'll invite my friends over for dinner and I warn them it's gluten free. Come over for dinner, it's gluten free. But I want to prove to people that a gluten free diet doesn't mean that it has to be without treats. I can still,
Yeah.
creme brulee is gluten free. So
Yeah.
there's still indulgences. It's just understanding your body, what its limitations are, and catering to those needs, taking care of yourself. And so I can live my life dream of having my friends come over and give them a cleansing meal where everyone's going to feel incredible afterwards and we'll all laugh and have a good time because no one has brain fog. Every
Yeah.
body is different. Some people thrive on pizza and French toast, and good for them. I'm so jealous. But being able to take a pause, acknowledge that something isn't right in my body, change it, and then evangelize this gluten-free lifestyle, I would not shut up about sourdough for a long time because for some reason my body can tolerate that.
Yeah. I have an idea for you. Don't tell them it's gluten-free up front. Have your dinner, and then at the end of the dinner, say, "Oh, by the way, everything you had was gluten-free."
I like that.
Yeah, I
Usually
guess.
I'm more transparent than I should be a lot of the times.
Yeah. Well,
And that's
you're not gonna harm them. It's not like they're gonna go away hungry. In fact, they'll go away surprised, I think. So tell me this. How has your relationship with risk changed as your responsibility has grown in the business?
gosh, great question. As a communications consultant, risk is a part of the day to day. A lot of times I work with clients who are going through a significant business shift. And ultimately, it's not if, but when a crisis happens. I've seen a lot of crazy crises with different organizations, both as a consultant and in house in early in my career. It's why my brand is the night sky. It's because there are times when people need guidance and it's dark and it's scary and it just becomes so terrifying and dangerous at night. But we know that the day will come and it's an opportunity to figure out what that strategy is, seeing it as an opportunity. There's no bad feedback. You may get some negative inputs. You may see that your valuation is changing, whatever that is. May see your share of market shrinking. And we have to acknowledge that this is valuable information and it's time for a shift. Because if we continue living in this dark night sky, nothing's ever going to get better. But if we take it on the chin, acknowledge that there are going to be opportunities that the world is always changing. We're going to have to shift. And if we don't take that internal action, we risk losing even more.
Mhm. Tell me this, what did last year strip away and you're glad it's gone?
Wow. I had a lot of personal things last year. I had a lot of personal things come up, and it's amazing how much it interferes with your real life. And there's no substitute for a really good therapist. I'll just say that. But of course, as we learn and grow and develop and acknowledge these darker parts of ourselves and do the shadow work, that all turns into incredible professional career gains as well, because then we understand the deeper parts of ourselves. There's a quote, and I hope I don't mess it up, but your unresolved issues will be incredibly obvious to everybody else unless you address them. So it's really important to know where your blind spots are, to do the work, and then you can show up better, specifically when you're supporting senior leadership and they may not be aware of their blind spots either.
Yes. Let me this. Did you have a moment where you were challenged to choose alignment over applause?
Oh my gosh. These are great questions. Always. I think a lot of the hardest work that we do doesn't come with instant gratification or an audience who will applaud you. And it's staying true to yourself. It's not going to happen in those moments where you're presenting in front of a leadership team. Those aha moments happen when you're truly dedicated to the work, when you're looking at the data, when you find that trend or that competitive insight where you're like, yes, this is the thing that we need. Because again, we can't just make things up. It's you have to sit and be dedicated and truly be committed to the work and be committed to the client, knowing that you have the client's best interest in mind, sitting and grinding and doing that thing. So then you can take it to the broader team and say, look, I have something to share with you. And maybe that comes with a lot of recognition, but the big aha moments generally happen on a dog walk, when I'm skiing the trees, or when, just late at night when you're trying to work through a problem that you know is a top priority for the organization.
Yeah, yeah. Those for me, it's those shower moments, or when I've just gotten to sleep and the head starts, and I just usually can turn it off, but I can't. It's something I have to go gnaw on for a while, no matter what's going to happen next, right? It's you just got to engage. So, I want to know this. How does Amanda recognize when fear is information and not a stop sign?
Ooh, great question. I would say embodiment's really important. I know for me, my pause is when my breathing gets shallow. I have an aura ring will tell me I'm stressed all day, but it's when I initially start to feel that fear and that pause, that moment, just take a beat. There's nothing more valuable than going outside, taking the dog for a walk, snuggling said dog, going downstairs, have a drink of water. At that moment where you can pull away and get clarity. Remind yourself, I am okay. My family's okay. I have all of my limbs. Find those moments to be really grateful for, even being grateful for the challenge. Like, I'm so blessed to be complaining about the things that I'm complaining about. Or
Hmm.
10 years ago, I never would have imagined that I'm here in my career managing these partnerships, managing these media opportunities. So it's truly, yeah, just recognizing in my body that instead of completely shutting down, this is information. And maybe I do a breathing exercise. Maybe I lay on my yoga mat. Maybe I go burn some incense, whatever it is, to just take a beat and know that we can get back at it in 5 minutes.
Love this. So, what impact are you most proud of? Not professionally, not publicly, personally.
I really like exercising. I know that's kind of a weird answer, but I'm a swimmer, a cyclist. I'm not a triathlete because I really only run if I'm being chased. But those meditative moments that I can find when I'm exerting a high amount of energy is something I'm very proud of. And it's never a competitive thing where I'm not swimming faster than anybody or I'm not biking faster than anybody. I appreciate the team environment, being able to be on the trail with someone or be in the pool with somebody, but it's knowing that I am aligning my nervous system, that I can find calm in absolute moments of chaos, like when you're working out for like your hour, you're 90 minutes on a bike ride, and that's when the clarity hits and your nervous system is finally like, okay, we got this. And it translates really well to these high pressure work environments where
Yeah.
it's not unfamiliar when you suddenly find yourself in the shallow breathing and being like, actually, no, we're just kind of on the last leg of this race.
Yeah, I look at exercise so often as clearing out the cobwebs. It's sort of like the old computer defrag, which I think it all doesn't automagically now, but it's just like a reset, right? Just a little bit of time can just really shift things, and why not do that for ourselves? So, how do you ensure the soul of what you're building isn't lost in the success of what you're building?
Well, the success fluctuates as a consultant. It's feast or famine and always will be. And the soul is, I truly believe that people are on earth and we come to earth to connect with one another. It's important to be self sufficient and independent. However, the greatest moments of joy, of self discovery, happen with community and with another person. And how lucky am I to be a public relations consultant? I have made an entire career out of connecting leadership and organizations and brands with audiences, with community, and how to create some of those win-win relationships. So ultimately, we all thrive because it's going to be about the bottom line for the client, but for the community, it's going to be about belonging. It's going to be about health. It's going to be about financial security. It's going to be about technical innovation in all the industries that I've worked across. So the soul for me and my purpose is knowing that I can help others connect with people who need their services and their gifts.
Hmm, wonderful. Amanda, what boundary has become essential to your sustainability?
Oh my gosh. These are great questions. The boundary, I would say, is knowing when to pause and play. I could work all of the time. I truly could. I see media alerts multiple times a day for multiple prospects and clients. And business development never stops. Even if you have a full portfolio and book of business, it's really important to keep some of those leads warm because you never know when you're going to need them or when they're going to need you. So I could work forever, but that boundary has to be as soon as the sun starts to set, I gotta walk my dog. More than anything, I want to be the best dog owner. She's so good to me, so I want to be really good to her too. And I don't have children right now. I don't have like other huge commitments where I need to take a sick day because my kid is sick. But if my dog is sick, I'm gonna have to pause and go to the vet because she is absolutely everything to me.
They become our children without a doubt. In fact, I think they're much easier to manage.
She
They
acts a lot
become
like
much
I'm
easier.
her child.
Yeah, they own us is what they real answer is. Let's face it. So, tell me this: have you ever said no to growth because it wasn't aligned?
Oof. Ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. So those moments of growth, there are plenty of opportunities where I've thought to myself, "Oh shit, am I ready? Is this something that I'll be eligible for? Do I deserve to be here?" And of course, you have to take that opportunity. I learned by doing. And it's important to never turn down an opportunity. There's an incredible amount of the population who believes they can land a plane without ever going to flight school. And I remind myself of that, that just because I don't know how to land a plane doesn't mean that I can't learn.
Yes, yes, yes. I love learning, and I am going to be a lifelong learner. In fact, I know that when I go to take my last breath, I'm going to hold up my finger and say, just a moment, I have a question. Because it's just the best, right? It's every day I want to learn something new. What's your boldest vision of what comes next?
There are new strategies and new innovations that happen every single day. And I wouldn't be able to lead my communications agency if I hadn't done certifications and training to learn how to be the best at what I do. I am sure there are things on the horizon that we don't even know coming because of the adoption and the exponential growth of AI. It's
Mhm.
completely changing the landscape.
Changing everything,
Oh
yes.
my God. I also hope I never stop learning, but that means that I'm going to be presented with 100 challenges along the way. And a likely 100 failures because I've never learned a lesson the easy way. And that's the best way to continue to grow is just make wiser, more informed decisions and fail smarter next time.
Yeah. Some of my biggest successes have been a result of my biggest mistake or failure.
1000%. And you learn quickly when
Yes.
you've got multiple clients and you
Yeah.
see very similar things repeat themselves in a
Yes.
really short period of time.
And allows us to exercise that muscle of resilience. Tell me this. What future version of yourself are you actively practicing becoming?
Absolutely trying to be calmer, always practicing breathing exercises, aligning the nervous system when I don't have time for a bike ride or a swim, and being really steady and confident, trying to remove the imposter syndrome so I don't get spun up in this idea of I can't, I don't know. and ultimately just sitting with the discomfort so I can become a better person.
Yes. I want to share with you something I've learned about fear and the imposter syndrome. Are
Please.
you ready?
Yes,
Just an opportunity for growth.
that resonates. It makes a lot of sense. Because if we're
Yeah.
not presented with those growth opportunities, we stay
Yeah.
stagnant. And if you become stagnant, then you just become
Yeah.
forgotten or
I
irrelevant.
think that, they both get a lot of press, imposter syndrome and fear. They both can generate easily strong feelings just on what we've been told about them or what we're presented about them. And what I have learned is just an opportunity for growth. Yeah. So tell me this. Um, where are you choosing courage over certainty right now?
I would say every day. I come up with, I do have a new business model specifically for entrepreneurs. I found a gap in the market where I can join established teams, lead organizations because I have the data and the market intelligence. And there are people who do not need that service because they are a one-man team or a one-woman team. And the opportunity for courage is sitting down and bringing this idea to market. Is this going to be worth my time? Is this going to be beneficial for the client? And developing these launch programs for people who have done absolutely no media in the past and have no idea where to start. I can help connect the dots for them because ultimately, if I'm pitching somebody to their target publication, that's a one-time engagement. But if the reporter has a good experience and the audience finds that subject matter expertise valuable, that becomes a long-term engagement. Then we move on to the next media target.
Mm,
So the courage is really believing in the results that I've driven for other clients and knowing that it's never too soon to start your public relations campaigns and initiatives. In fact, you're too late if it's launch day, you have a new product, you have a survey, a consumer survey going out. If you go to promote it on day one without having those media contacts in place, you are completely missing the boat. You wouldn't expect all of your friends and family to show up and support you on a marathon if you tell them the morning of. All of your support systems, all of your team is going to know about that marathon date, time, and location way in advance. And we need to, consider the media the same way because asking someone to do something outside of their editorial calendar or asking them, hey, can you drop whatever deadline you're on to promote my story feels really selfish. And again, if the common core is to help people connect with one another, we need to get buy-in and we need to educate and introduce ourselves way earlier. So ultimately, I believe in the value of what that is, and it's just that courage in knowing there is an opportunity here for people to get better, to improve, to increase their visibility, and ultimately like make more money. So
mm,
knowing where there's opportunity and really just leaning into it, even though it's something I've never done before or something I'm in the nascent stages of developing and seeing
yeah.
some early results in, but how does this scale? And then hoping, of course, that it scales and it becomes an upper limits problem of, oh my God, I'm so successful. I need to start hiring all of my friends.
Yes, yes, yes. Amanda, I'm curious, what does legacy mean to you at this stage of life?
Kindness. I want for, traditionally legacy relates to wealth. And we can be a wealth of compassion and empathy and just love for the people around us. And at the end of the day, a consultant could make a ton of money for a client, but if you're miserable to work with, that contract is going to end.
Mm,
And it's important to bring some of those intangibles to the table. Are you trusted? Are you well
yeah.
liked? Can you help bring levity during a crisis situation? And those are, I think, so my legacy would be along the lines of kindness, being able to acknowledge when someone's doing a really good job so they continue doing a good job. And when you have to offer tough critical feedback, they're more open and willing to hear that because they know you're coming from a place of trying to make the business better and ultimately trying to make the person better.
Wonderful. If a young Amanda was listening to this podcast, what would you tell her?
I would say be gentle with yourself, because we beat ourselves up all of the time and nobody wants to work with an overworked stress ball. And it's important to get outside and play. You don't have to be the first one turning the lights on every morning. You don't have to be the one who's there late at night. Take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself, and everything happens in phases. I tell this to my clients who are in crisis. It's tough right now. It will get easier. There's a learning curve with everything. So I would tell young Amanda, just be gentle with yourself.
Love this. If you could leave the listeners with one invitation today, what would it be?
It would be to invest in your personal brand. Specifically, if you are a founder, if you are a leader, and if you do not have any visibility programs, there's nothing more valuable than your reputation and protecting that reputation. So the invitation would be to consider a public relations consultant, someone who's local, or I am so happy to always take on new clients and offer advice where I can. And I have an incredible network of creatives, other communications professionals, and I would be happy to refer anybody within my network to someone who's better suited for those services. So I can be found at chariotcommunications.com. I offer a link to my calendar right on my website. Please book time with me. I would love to learn more about your communications challenge, which turns into a communications opportunity, and to help individuals really preserve their reputation and grow market share.
Love it. Amanda Colbert, CEO and founder of Chariot Communications, thank you for being on Opening Pathways today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and to my viewers, this is Tom Lenoble. I'll see you next time.